Thanks again for listening and subscribing to the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. This episode is just a quick note. We kind of talked about this and made this decision after our last episode, so we didn't really talk about this before in the podcast feed, only on Facebook and Twitter. So I wanted to make sure that we talked about this here too. But back during the 2018 Kickstarter and again in our 2019 Kickstarter, we made one of our goals to do a book of interviews centered around Nightbreed and our experiences with Occupy Midian. And we had some backers that put down money for this book. The book of interviews is centered around Nightbreed and our experiences with Occupy Midian. We've put a lot of work in, and a very special shout out to Raul and Rob Ridenour for the hours that they've put in transcribing interviews. Because of their help, we're very close to finishing up the transcribing part and moving on to organizing and editing the book, then publishing. I realize that if we keep putting out podcast episodes, the interview book is never going to get done, and I don't want to feel that stress. So we're going on hiatus until we get the book ready for editing and publishing. We're very serious about getting this book done, and having full-time jobs and family lives, we can't put the time in if we're also preparing and researching for these episodes. So for those of you that ordered the book or plan to get one, expect it to be this year. We're really going to push to finish this. And for everybody out there that's saying interview book, oh man, I didn't know about that. Don't worry, we're going to have another opportunity to order it if you didn't do that during those two Kickstarters. So other than that, after we get this thing ready to go and we've got, we've finished laying it out and editing and stuff and we've got it out to the publishers, we will get back to more commentaries on movies that Clive recommends from Clive Barker's A to Z of Horror. And we'll get back into Clive Barker news. And there has been some news while we've been on hiatus, which feels kind of weird because it's like I really want to make blog posts and I really want to go talk about it on the podcast. But instead, I'm, sitting down and listening to interviews and typing up what people say. So, we can't do everything. And right now, it's mostly just Jose and I. So that's where we're at. And, thank you guys for listening, and I want to thank you in advance for your patience. Please don't unsubscribe. We're still around. You'll still see us on Facebook and Twitter and Discord and stuff like that. It's just, we have to get this done, and the amount of time that we carved out for the podcast didn't allow for very much time for getting this done. So now we're swapping it because, people ordered this book and we need to get it out to them. Okay, so, I've rambled on enough about that. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. You can find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news, features, reviews, and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and every other place you can find podcasts. Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial, podcast, and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.